You're halfway across a dark bedroom when the coat on your chair becomes a person. Your shoulders jump. Your hand reaches for the light. The door is locked. Your phone is beside you. There is no leopard under the bed, no stranger at the window, and no sensible reason to panic. Your body has already voted anyway. That jump is the answer. Humans are not afraid of darkness as if blackness were a thing. We fear what darkness stops us from ruling out. In 1997, researchers surprised volunteers with sudden sounds, in light and in complete darkness. The sounds stayed exactly the same. The human startle response grew stronger in the dark. Why can a safe room change a reflex? Because vision does more than show you what is present. It quickly removes bad possibilities. Turn off the detail, and every harmless shape keeps its worst explanation alive for a few extra seconds. A coat might be a person. A branch might be an animal. A rustle might be footsteps. The alarm fires first. Identification arrives later. Predators belong in this story, but the usual version gives them far too much credit. It says nervous ancestors survived night attacks. Relaxed ancestors became dinner. And you inherited a tiny leopard alarm. Real fear is messier than that. Fear does not fossilize. Archaeologists can find tooth marks, burned bone, and stone tools. They cannot dig up a 2-million-year-old panic attack and ask what the owner imagined in the dark. So instead of inventing one ancient monster, start with the problem your eyes create every night. In daylight, cones give you color and sharp central detail. As light fades, more sensitive rods do most of the work. They help you detect dim shapes, but the picture loses color and fine edges. Full dark adaptation can take roughly 40 minutes under laboratory conditions. During that adjustment, a tree does not disappear. The evidence that it is only a tree does. The bark, color, and small branches fade. What remains is a dark shape at shoulder height. Your brain receives a terrible photograph and still has to make a decision. Call it a branch and stay relaxed, or call it possibly alive and prepare to move. One mistake costs a fast heartbeat and an embarrassing noise. The other mistake might put teeth next to your face. This lopsided choice has a name: the smoke detector principle. A useful smoke alarm does not wait until it can see flames. It screams at burnt toast because one irritating false alarm costs less than one perfectly silent house fire. Defensive systems can use the same ugly arithmetic. When danger is uncertain and a missed threat is expensive, the sensible alarm may be the one that is wrong most of the time. That is why the coat gets promoted to intruder before your brain finishes checking the sleeves. It also explains why darkness is not the whole story. In 2015, researchers tested 128 young women while changing both the light and the time of day. Frightening sounds and images produced stronger reactions at night. Darkness alone did not create the same result. So the alarm has more than one dial. Light matters, the hour matters, the place matters, memory matters, what you expect to find nearby matters. A dark cinema can feel comfortable because you know why the lights went out. A dark parking garage feels different because every pillar can hide a person, and your footsteps keep returning from places you cannot see. The missing information is the same. The story your brain builds from it is not. Ancient knights made this calculation more serious, although the evidence is narrower than most documentaries admit. At Swartkrans Cave in South Africa, a partial skull called SK54 came from deposits roughly 1.9 to 1.8 million years old. 2 punctures have long been linked to a leopard. It is famous evidence that early hominins sometimes became prey. It is not a certificate naming the inventor of fear. A 2024 review warned that sweeping claims about regular leopard predation rest on very few fossils. The skull cannot tell us whether the attack happened at night. It certainly cannot prove that one leopard installed fear of dark bedrooms in every future human. And cats were never the only reason to pay attention. Darkness could hide a drop, a snake, a stranger, a broken branch, or a child walking away from the group. It could also hide wind, insects, and your cousin trying to approach quietly after everyone had fallen asleep. Most alarms probably ended with nothing more dramatic than several annoyed people holding spears. That does not make the alarm useless. It means the system was priced for the rare error that mattered. Then, humans found a way to move the border. At Wonderwork Cave in South Africa, microscopic ash and burned bone show that fire was present deep inside the cave about 1 million years ago. The evidence does not prove people could light a fire whenever they wanted. It does show that fire had entered the human environment astonishingly early. A fire did not erase the night. It cut a small room out of it. Inside that room, faces returned. Hands became visible. A branch stayed a branch for a few meters longer. Parents could see where children were sitting. A sound still came from darkness, but now everyone could point toward the same patch of it. Fear remained outside the circle. Uncertainty moved farther away. Fire also made night useful. Anthropologist Polly Wiesner recorded conversations among Jew-Howansi communities and found a striking change after sunset. Daytime talk focused more on work, plans, and practical problems. Around firelight, people shifted towards stories, jokes, distant people, spirits, and the larger rules of social life. These are living communities, not a frozen display of the Stone Age. They cannot tell us exactly what people said 100,000 years ago. They do show what a shared island of light makes possible. Once everyone can see the faces around them, darkness stops being only a danger. It becomes a backdrop. People can imagine together, and imagination gives fear a wardrobe. Children are not born carrying the same list of dark room threats. They learn the local cast. In interviews with 511 children and adolescents, roughly 64% reported nighttime fears. Intruders and home invasion appeared most often. Younger children reported fears more frequently than adolescents. The dark room did not change. The possible visitor did. One child puts a monster under the bed. Another imagines a burglar at the window. An adult who watched 3 crime documentaries hears a heating pipe click and immediately invents a murderer with an impressive knowledge of residential plumbing. The alarm mechanism may be old, the costume department stays current. This is why telling yourself that the room is safe does not always stop the first jolt. Conscious thought wants a verdict. The defensive system wants your muscles ready, while the evidence is still arriving. Modern life answered that delay with more light. We put lamps beside beds, glowing switches in hallways, streetlights outside windows, and a bright rectangle 6 inches from our eyes. For the first time, many people can avoid meaningful darkness from sunset until sleep. That solves the coat problem. It creates a clock problem. In a study of 104 volunteers, ordinary room light before bed delayed melatonin onset in 99% of participants, compared with dim light. During normal sleep hours, it suppressed melatonin in more than 84%. The lamp tells your threat system. The coat is definitely a coat. The same lamp tells your body clock. Perhaps it is still afternoon. We did not conquer darkness for free. We traded uncertain shapes for a permanently glowing evening. Ordinary caution is not the same as a clinical phobia. Some people enjoy darkness. Familiar places feel safer. Experience, culture, age, and memory can turn the alarm up or down. The point is not that every nervous jump contains a tiny caveman. The point is that your brain must choose before it has complete information. It asks a brutally practical question. Which mistake can I afford? For a person standing beyond an ancient fire, dismissing the wrong rustle could be costly. For you, mistaking a coat for a stranger costs 2 seconds and a suspicious look at your own furniture. Different rooms, same preference for checking. And once fire made night small enough to share, humans gained more than safety. They gained extra hours for stories, jokes, and thoughts with nowhere else to go. The video on screen follows what those long hours did to the human mind, and whether ancient people could become as bored as you can. Now cross the dark bedroom again. The coat becomes a person. Your shoulders rise. Then your hand finds the switch. The sleeves return, and the threat disappears without ever moving. Darkness did not put a stranger in the chair. It only removed the evidence that there was none.